Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toni and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids. My kids are gonna be going into 8th grade, 6th grade, 4th grade, and 1st grade. We have been homeschooling from the beginning. So when my 13-year-old was like 4, I think is when we really started dipping our toes into homeschooling and kind of discovering what it was all about. So it's been about 8 years. So I do have some experience with homeschooling. I have learned what's important, I've learned what's not important, and really what you need to focus on and what really doesn't matter in the long run at all. And it's taken a lot of trial and error, and that's why I love doing videos to share with you guys kind of what I've learned so that you can skip that part and you can just do what really matters and do it right the first time. Today's video is a survival kit for homeschool moms. We're talking about must-haves. What do you need to have in your back pocket, in your homeschool room, in your life to successfully homeschool your kids? This is not a super complicated list. I have 10 things I'm gonna share with you guys. If you guys wanna find out what is in my backpack in my homeschool survival kit, then stay tuned. This video is a collaboration with Anna over at Just Making It Work. Anna is a really close friend of mine. I love her. She's awesome. And she is just, I've always called her the queen of home management because she shares so many awesome things about home management and really seems to have it all together. So I go to her for wisdom on that. She's also a homeschool mom of 6 kids, and she's been sharing things about how she's done homeschool over the years. And I just love trying to get wisdom from what she shares. She just graduated 2 girls this year, 2 of her daughters successfully. And I think that is amazing because I'm not even close yet. I can't wait to hear what's in her homeschool backpack and all the other moms that are gonna be joining this. So make sure you check out the playlist below when you're done watching mine, and check out Anna's channel because she's just full of wisdom, has such a heart for the Lord and sharing with others. I'll link her channel and the playlist below. I asked my kids real quick, what do you guys think is the first thing that you have to homeschool? And my one daughter, my middle daughter, she and I at the same exact time, because we have the same personality, said, kids. I know that's obvious, but you do need kids to be able to homeschool, okay? It made us both laugh. We laughed for a couple minutes about that. It doesn't take much to amuse us. So first thing, obviously, you probably need kids to homeschool. The second thing that I'm gonna share is not life-changing, but I really find this a must-have in our homeschool. And it's probably a lot of it comes from me being a teacher in the past, is red pens. A good red pen. These red pens, these are Papermate Ink Joy. Is it gonna focus? You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. These are the best. In my opinion, these are the best. They're super smooth and I love them. And I buy them anytime I can find a big pack of them because I don't know what happens to them, but they always run off. But this is how I grade my kids' papers, check their work. I personally have always used red pen because I like for them to be able to go down that page and either see lots of checks or obviously see a circle. And if you use blue or if you use a pencil or black or whatever, it's just not as obvious. I love red pens. So number 3 is a very important, super vital thing that to have in your homeschool survival kit in your backpack. And that is a reason. You have got to have a reason for homeschooling. We all have different reasons. And I understand that not everybody is going to have the same reasons, but you really need to know why you're doing this. Whether it's a calling, someone like me, I feel like I've actually been called to homeschool, called by God, and this is my duty. This is my the calling, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing for my kids while I'm here on earth. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Some people may be doing it for financial reasons. Some people may be doing it because of their school system and they know this is what's best for their kids. There's so many different reasons for homeschooling. And if you don't really truly know what your reason is, then when you get into the thick of it and it gets hard, and I promise you it will, usually around February or so, it gets really hard. It's not easy when your kid starts to struggle with a subject and you cannot possibly teach them in any other way. And you feel like you've completely given everything you have and they're still not getting it. If you don't know the reason why you're doing this, you are going to be tempted to to just send them back to school, or if they've never been to school, to send them to school. You've got to know that reason, because times will get hard. Homeschooling is hard. There's so many amazing, wonderful days, but it's not all what you see on Instagram. It's not all, you know, beautiful colors and matchy stuff and clean homeschool rooms. No, it's a disaster sometimes, emotionally. Physically, it can be really, really hard. And if you really don't truly know and understand what your reason is for doing this, then you're not gonna make it. So just make sure you know why you're doing this and you have a reason for it, and that's in your mind to where it doesn't matter how hard gets, I'm gonna stick with it because this is why I'm doing it. Number 4, you must have flexibility. You might be the most organized person there is, but when something gets thrown at you, when you had planned all this amazing stuff to happen on this day, and you're gonna start at this time, you're gonna finish at this time, and then somebody throws up in the morning or in the middle of the night, you're gonna have to change your plans. If something happens and you need to drop everything to go help a friend, we just had a big storm here recently that knocked out power. We had friends who needed help with cleanup and things like that. If I had said, sorry, we have school to do from this time to this time, then you can't be there to serve, you can't be there to help others. So you've got to be flexible. Things happen in life, you've got to be flexible. It's great to have a plan. I think a plan is wonderful. I'm gonna try to be way more like strict with my planning this year, but you've gotta have flexibility. I'm going to still be flexible, that I know if somebody needs us, or if something has to happen, or if everyone is cranky and we have got to just take the day off, then do that. Number 5 is very important, and I don't have a specific curriculum to share, but you need to make sure you have a curriculum that you love. If you have a curriculum that you really don't like and it's not fun and your kids don't like it, you're not gonna wanna do it, and it's gonna be a struggle, and then you're really gonna have to dig deep and pull that piece out of the reason, why are we doing this? It can help majorly if you have a curriculum that you love. I found lots of curriculum that I love, and there's also some that maybe I love, but they don't work for us. So I guess it needs to be a curriculum you love and a curriculum that works for your family in the season that you're in, because things do change. But just make sure that you have something that works for your family, or that works for each individual kid. I know that a lot of people end up doing maybe this math curriculum for this kid and this math curriculum for this kid because they learn differently. Just make sure you're doing something that you love. Don't do something just because everybody's doing it. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. You've got to have something that you love and that works for your family. My next thing is a must-have for me. If you don't have one, it doesn't mean you can't homeschool. But I love having a chalkboard or a whiteboard. We have had whiteboards in the past before. I found this awesome chalkboard at a thrift store for, I don't remember, it was like $10 or something. It's really big, it's super heavy, like a slate. Anyway, I love the way it looks in the schoolroom. We have a schoolroom, and I love the way it like just looks and ties it in, but I use this almost every single day. So I do think that you either need to have something on the wall, either a whiteboard or a chalkboard or something for those times when you are teaching. And maybe, I don't know why, but sometimes when you're teaching a concept or something like that, sometimes doing it on a piece of paper doesn't quite sink in as it does to come up here and do it on the board, and to be able to have your child see it in like a bigger version. It works. I really think it makes a difference. So I would recommend, if you can, get a chalkboard and a whiteboard. You might find, I see them at thrift stores all the time. You guys have got to check thrift stores. But I do think that's a must-have. Number 7, you've got to have a library card. You must have a library card. You don't need to buy every single book. Some people do that, and that's fine. I have a lot of books. If you want to see what I have, my collection of books, I did a video reorganizing our bookshelves a while ago, so I'll link that above. But I still use the library all the time. And for some reason, our kids still, even though I own all of these books, they still want to find something new. They still like to go to the library and pick things out. Even for me, having the library, I get excited to go to the library and pick out new books for me to read. Some people do unit studies where they're maybe studying about oceans, and you may not have a ton of ocean books in your personal library here at home. Go to the library and you can check them out just for that time period that you're studying that. You guys know what libraries are, so you know that they're important, but I do think it's very important to have a library card to encourage reading. We're a big reading family, and I really try to instill that in my kids. I've done a lot of different challenges throughout the last couple of years to really try to like push my girls to read more and have incentive. And I'll link one of those videos above too, in case you want to try to push that. But that is a huge thing, is having a library card and having that, you know, option of being able to just check things out and read. I love it. You've got to have it. My kids don't have their own library cards, mostly because I don't want to have to keep track of all that stuff. So we have one library card that we all check everything out. But you could get them each their own. I think that's great too, if you can keep track of them. We keep them all in one space, so it does help, but you need a library card. Number 8 is something that I have talked about in videos before, so if you've watched any of my videos, you won't be surprised at me mentioning Latchmate bins. Latchmate bins, these are the best. I discovered them 2 years ago maybe, and these things are so awesome. I will link them in the description box below. If you have never used these, they're so awesome. They've kept us so much more organized. I have one for each kid. I do love the color. That's my favorite color, but they're awesome. It fits all or most of their curriculum. My oldest daughter couldn't fit quite everything in here, so she usually kept some of her reading books or something like that in a different spot, but it keeps pretty much all their stuff in it. It latches. That's why it's called a Latchmate bin. It latches like this. So it's got a handle. I showed you how you hold that. It's got this tray on top, which you can put pencils. They can, you know, we always start the year with everybody having their own pencil. As you can see at the end of the year, it's pretty much empty, but everybody can keep their own things in here, and this goes in, and then you can set this out if you need to, and then this holds a ton of stuff. It really just mostly stays in our schoolroom, but it keeps them so much more organized. But if you are going to the park or you are going to grandma's house, sometimes I have them just take this whole bin with them to go to grandma's house, or if they've had to do school at a friend's house a couple times this year, and they just brought this whole bin with them, so I knew they had everything. These are so awesome. I love them. They've just kept us organized, and they've been great. The number 9 must-have that you've got to have in your homeschool backpack, in your survival kit, I think, is games. I really love throwing in a fun aspect to our school day and not just having workbooks and textbooks and things like that. So for us, that is such a fun way to start their day. I know a lot of people call it morning time or morning basket, and they have different things mixed in. I'm gonna show you a couple of the games that we have loved, and most of them aren't even really actual games. They're things that we've made into a game. So let me show you real quick. So one of the first things that we have loved is the flashcards from The Good and the Beautiful. And I think this was from level 4 or 5 from The Good and the Beautiful's language curriculum. And they just have all these flashcards that have the states on one side, and then they've got the name on one side. So we have done real quick flashcards where I just move it, and whoever guesses where the state is, then they get to keep the card, and then, you know, we keep points and things like that. And my girls have learned all the states. My son has learned some of them. He didn't sit in with us a ton this year when we did this, but this was one of their favorite parts of the day. At the end of the year, we actually started mixing it up, and not only did we show those state cards, we also, I had this board, and I've talked about this in a video before. We have this dry erase board where I will time them, and they have to see how many states that they can fill in as fast as they can, and they try to beat their score all the time. We did this a couple times a week, usually, not every day, but that was a fun way for them to work together. It's like a group thing, because like one kid, somebody fills it in, the next person fills it in, they keep passing it around, and that's worked really well. It's helped them learn their the abbreviations of the states and all that stuff. Another thing that we did that I threw in at the end of this year, these were actually from the My Father's Board curriculum that we used, I think, in 1st grade, and it just has all the states and the state birds. So we did this like a matching memory game where we laid these and we laid these state cards out all over the living room floor upside down, and they had to flip it over and match them, and then they learned what the bird and the flower is and what the state is. And the way I got my son involved, because he was only in kindergarten, so he didn't learn all those things with us, I have this super awesome bird song book that I got at a thrift store for a couple dollars. It was amazing. So this is one where you look up the bird in here, and then you look up the number, and then you push the button, and it makes the sound of the bird. So that was a fun thing for him to do. So the girls would be doing the matching while he's looking it up, and then he would play the bird sound. It was just a cool way to learn, but to make it fun. None of those are actually official games, but it was fun. Another thing that we did was Spanish flashcards, and we just always do it quick, like a game. You get points. and my kids just thrive off of points. So that was a huge thing. We love doing Spanish flashcards for that. The last thing is a game that I got recently. I think I got it at a thrift store, and it's called Loose Change, and it's actually really fun for all my kids. And you just have to, lay out cards, and you have to get closest to a dollar. So everybody lays down one of these coin cards, and so if somebody has like somebody puts down like a quarter, somebody else puts down a dime, somebody else puts down a quarter, and then the last person, if they can get closest to a dollar without going over, then they get to keep the pile. And it's a really fun game. If I can find this to link, I will try to link this below, because this was fun. It says ages 6 and up, and really we had fun doing it. From my son helped with us some too, because he knew some of these. He needed help obviously with like adding the change together and stuff. But from my 6-year-old all the way up to me, I had fun with this too. But my 13-year-old played with us too. So this was real fun. I just love having games mixed in our school day. It is a fun way to start the day, and then we get going on some of the other stuff. So that has been huge for us, and it's just fun, and I do think it's a must-have. You don't have to have 2 hours of game time in the morning. Usually it's like maybe 30 minutes or so, but it just kind of wakes everybody up and starts on a fun start. The number 10 must-have for your homeschool mom survival kit is a homeschool space. It can be a homeschool room, it can be just a table, it can be a desk in their room, whatever it is. In my opinion, remember, these are all my opinions, so you guys may not agree with me. I think it's really good, and I think it helps start your day for you to have this place to come together, even if it's a living room couch. But if you have, okay guys, let's start school, and they know where to go, and it's not just everybody spread out all over the place and you're like, where do we go? I just think it helps to have a space. And I know not everybody has a homeschool room. We are blessed to have a really nice homeschool room, but honestly, we don't use it all the time. We usually do a chunk of our subjects in here, but we do stuff in the living room. We also have dedicated spaces where the kids spread out. So my oldest daughter has realized this year she's done so much better in her math, because she realized she cannot do her math in here with everybody else. So she almost always goes to the dining room table and sits in there by herself to do that. My other daughter, she has a nice desk in her room, so when she's going to be taking a quiz or a test, she doesn't stay in here in the homeschool room with everybody. She goes to her desk in her room and shuts her door and has that place to focus. So I think it's good to have a homeschool space like your homeroom, you know, where you guys are going to start together. Whether it's a homeschool room, it could be the table in your RV, it could be the picnic table outside, whatever it is. I think it's good to have that dedicated space, but it's nice to have those options too, where like, okay, you can't focus, you go to, you know, this place. So it's really good to have that too. I think having like a home base is really good and helpful, and just, I feel like my kids at least do better with structure and with just knowing what's to come, knowing where we're going, knowing where we're starting, and things like that. So that's been huge for us, and I really think that is something anybody could do. You don't have to have a fancy homeschool room, but you need to have that space that you guys start so that the kids know what to expect. I think that's really good for them. So I'm probably gonna come up with a ton more things, whether it was ideas or tangible things that you can hold in your hand, and you need this in your homeschool room. But these were kind of the top 10 that really stuck out to me that I think you need to survive as a homeschool mom, for the most part. Some of them you don't have to survive, but I think they help. They really do help. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that this helped you and maybe gave you an idea of something that you don't have in your backpack that you need to put in it. So we can all survive, but you've got to have certain things. I do think the number one thing was like actually number 4, I think. Make sure you know why you're doing this, so that when times do get hard, when you can't find any red pens, when the homeschool room is a mess, when everybody's tired of doing school, when you're not liking your curriculum and everything's going wrong, you know why you're doing this in the first place. And then hopefully you can just push through, pray to God, help him get you through this, because he will help you get through the hard times. So really, I should have made the reason number 1, but that's okay. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up if you do like this. That always encourages me. And if you are not yet subscribed, don't forget to subscribe and click that little notification bell so you're notified every time one of my videos comes out. Very soon, I will be sharing with you guys what our picks are for next year. We just finished school. Yesterday was our last day. So we are finally done with the school year, and I'm really excited to finalize what we're going to be doing next year. So make sure you click that notification bell so that you are notified when those videos do come out, because I'm super excited to share with you guys. All right, Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check the playlist, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.